it's all the same.
I know Adrian said he never come back. But we don't need him anyway.
I don't see the older, your brother's coming home and all that. I don't see that. I see more like my
Well,
cousins.
we may have moved you, but we didn't lose it.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah.
Mine's gone.
Oh, is there, do we,
But do we meet? Can we still talk? You can still talk, yeah.
Got hit this morning. Did that this morning, I got out of bed.
oh, I guess, but I know mine fell off.
I noticed it.
Joe,
I had to see you, what's your numbers, what's the number you said?
I just said it.
Talked about like,
What's your number?
about the land. I think I said, it is worth a shot. I said, well, he says, because once I put the phone in, he says, that way I'll be enough. I said, well, I said, okay, my number doesn't have to be the final number. What's the number that makes you sell it? Well, you can't wait for that. And he manages where. Yeah. But he says, like, all the land. He says, if you had
Oh, really? Oh my gosh, it was so cool.
more.
And it was a ready to rain.
Just tipped it.
And I looked over in your vicinity and it was like the second.
Oh, that? Yes.
There were unicorns like.
No, we're just talking about he went for a ride yesterday to battle. And they were gonna make a quick trip for 7 hours later.
I was
I think you were telling me about that.
Until somebody goes through the ice, you know, you don't have.
Oh, is it a video?
So anyway, it looks like we're stuck though. Option 3. Start with back on 50. Third option, go to the back, look at the side. Right. Now option.
I don't know anybody who likes to use that much.
He's still willing to, he said the land,
Oh, look.
when we
Oh, I
do it
thought
like
that
this,
was
that
something.
was going
The beam.
down across here. He said, this is the deal, he says,
I thought you had to be in everybody.
I said, no. I said, I figured out I just need to play with the very favorable way. That would be. Percent we got, that's what it
Keep at me about it, okay? Like email me sometime, say, Denise, are you walking?
I said, it's all doable. It's not like
Pretty nice today, watch outside, it's still a little bit cool though.
well, the other blood drive last week, I thought we was going for 10 miles.
Right, right, that was good, that's what a great facility. It's so nice to have that.
100% of your activities, we're using all of them. Where they're where the fans are down, it's all from here. And you can pull them in at your own side, but you're not going from here.
I think it's much more.
I think he's my accountability.
Here,
I've been walking there for years.
early mornings, yeah, that's all.
Thank you.
So think about this, it's 1,200 feet.
So Pastor Vaughn, your brother's abroad, he's off on vacation.
Yeah, I mean, you could put a zip line, you could make this the bundle.
Is it really?
We are, yeah, we are. We're waiting for, there's a new funding formula coming up from the state too. So we're spread Mr.
Gordon, how are you, sir?
That's gonna benefit us or something. So we're waiting for that.
Yesterday,
Yeah, That's right along. I just read about it, I saw it in the paper today.
It sounds like that's what it's made for.
That's what it's made for, right, exactly.
I said,
Phil came up with the best idea of those for the town. He's got
Yeah.
this verse. He's got the places that run the flood.
Really could be, right. Well, that's, what do they do?
I said they don't have two steel lines. Walgreens, Secret Service, none of those stores have areas.
No.
Bury that in the ground.
There should have been some, but I imagine, you know, pass,
Crank up or go away. Let's take a
Everybody's gotta get their own piece of it. But,
Since that
you
fits
know,
one side, the
whether
other
we
side,
go for it to help
down,
with repairs and maintenance of the property, which is
that
key,
one down, that one down.
thank you, or whatever, yeah, yeah.
Right. It'll be 8 feet out, but that's not close
Yeah.
enough to mow. No. And he says they're not four, give me that. And he said that four was massive, made whole tons. Having a person stand at the end of it ain't gonna bet that. That's like literally take the thing, lay the head in it on the ground, weld it in place. Well, that hit.
How do you secure it when you put it out with pin that goes in?
Sure. Well, it's not collapsing.
A long time, eh? For someone. Pretty much, yeah. Well, I'm mostly doing PR stuff, yeah. Yeah. Now, what are you doing now? You retired? Good for you. I'm 1 year from now, I'll knowing it.
Put it that way.
Yeah, my wife retired a couple of years ago, and she just loved it.
I will, once I get used to not having to have a schedule.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, just something about my keeps you alive.
That used to be a shirt. And you had a great
I'll have to do something on the other end. That's pretty bad.
on the
You know, Julie sort of took that on. But
It's a little confusing when you get down below the main trail.
Yeah.
Covered.
Yeah, we definitely need to learn to do a better job there.
Bulls Road.
The Bulls didn't, take care of it, that's, Powers did not.
It goes in there, but they're,
The Belanger did that before that.
guys here to cause trouble?
No, you can't. It's up to you.
Council, microphones on, please. Vibrate. Welcome everybody to the Monday, April 24, 2023 council meeting. I need to turn my microphone on. Practice what I preach. Let's speak on the roll call. All councilors are present, and at least via Zoom. Number 2, we have the invocation and inspirational thought, and we have Pastor Troy Heel here And please introduce yourself and your parish and lead us in prayer.
Sure. Pastor Troy Heald from the Woodland Baptist Church in Woodland, and privileged to be able to be here to open your meeting in prayer tonight. And I want you all to know too that we pray for you often out there, and appreciate all that you folks do in representing the citizens of Caribou. So thank you very much. But let's open in prayer this evening. Lord God, as we gather tonight here, Lord, we do thank you for each of these individuals, for them giving of their time and their talents to serve the people of this community. Lord, we thank you for their willingness to step forward where so many other people would shy away. But Lord, we know this is not an easy role to fill sometimes, but we appreciate their dedication to it. And Lord, we just pray for the outcome of the meeting tonight, that it would be in the best interest of the citizens, and that there would be unity in the appropriate things as well. Just ask your presence to be with it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Welcome, Ms. Stain. Join us for the meeting. Thank you. Everybody will please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4 on the agenda is the public forum. Danielle, do you have anything for us this evening?
Nope.
Does anybody from the audience have anything that they would like to bring before the council in a public forum? Okay, thank you. Minutes. Item number 5A, we have the regular city council meeting minutes from March 22nd, 2023, pages 2 through 8 in our packet. Any errors or omissions? Council?
I move that we accept the minutes as written.
Second?
Second discussion. Bagley?
Aye.
Boma?
Aye.
Vaughn?
Aye.
Morrow?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Willie?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So now we have really fun stuff here next. We have bid openings, awards, and appointments. And we have some employee milestone recognitions. So we were going to handle this. I'm going to come down.
I'm gonna turn this off because the pictures look bad.
Okay.
But when you seem to like to stand over there.
Okay, I can find another place to stand, I guess. So I'm
Decisions.
going to come down, and Deputy Mayor Boma is going to read the names for the ones here, and I'll come down and
Yes.
present the.
We're celebrating some big milestone anniversaries this year, so it's pretty exciting. All
I think
right.
something should be mentioned is that every year you work for the city of Caribou is a milestone, and there's some great milestones here, and I think it's very important to realize that we appreciate everybody for the years of dedicated service you've done. I know the mayor is going to say the same thing, but as a new counselor, I want everybody to know that I appreciate it every day that a city employee works for us, and it's very, very important to know. So, having worked for a facility that for 43 years, I know what it's like. It has its days, its ups and its downs, but I want to thank you all for being part of our community and staying as long as you have. That's very, very important. Not too many people do today, and it's very, very important. But thank you all.
Anybody else have anything you want to say in here?
Right. So first, we would like to recognize Ken Murchison from Zoning and Code Enforcement. Ken's been with us for 5 years. Yes, we clap. Absolutely.
Did you break it?
Patty, you getting a picture too?
Not yet.
Smile, Jody.
That's not a smile, that's a grimace.
Thank you, Ken.
That was good.
Thank you
Thank
very,
you,
very much.
Ken.
Can you read?
And we can get a photo maybe of everybody at the end too.
Can you read what they said, the next one, what it says there? I know they're all the same.
Oh, sure, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
she's going to read what the certificate says. They're
Yeah,
all-
I can
they're all
read each one,
similar,
sure.
but-
Okay, so the next one will be for Carl Grant, and Carl's been with us for 10 years as Director of Finance, HR, and Tax Collection. It says, essential piece. Isn't it a wonderful thing that we're all different? Each of us has strengths and skills to share, and when we link our individual strengths together, we're invincible. Presented to Carl Grant.
Smile.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Perfect. And also celebrating 10 years is Corey Saucier, a sergeant with the police department. This one also says, essential piece, isn't it a wonderful thing? We're all different. Each of us has strengths and skills to share, and when we link our individual strengths together, we're invincible.
Corey, don't leave us. Whatever you do, stick with us. Okay? It's going to get better. Trust me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take off, then we're gonna get a group.
Yep. And next, we're celebrating Dave Willett, the Director of Public Works, for 25 years.
Oh my God. Nice shirt. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you,
Very
Dave.
much. I think something I want to note is that what people don't realize, the highway department right now is down 4 personnel, and they're in the middle of spring cleanup, and they're working with what they have, and I think that a lot of it has to do with the organizational skills that Dave has, and I think he should be commended for that. So.
Also celebrating 25 years with us is Lisa Plor, Director of the Caribou Housing Agency.
We're not that old, are we?
We're not that old.
Do we have a reunion or something coming up this year?
Quiet.
Did you guys go to school? Yeah.
Thank you.
It's our 10-year reunion.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
So you started working here before you graduated?
Yeah.
Wow, that's quick math, counselor.
Every once in a while.
Also celebrating 25 years with us is Denise Lauger, Deputy Assistant Tax Collection and Finance.
Denise, I always thought you were taller than that.
Okay, can you both look over here at the same time? Okay, thank you. Perfect, thanks.
Thank you.
You know what
Thank you,
Jeff
Denise.
reminds me of?
Thank you.
Yukon, that, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Ranger, the Yukon guy.
Oh, yes.
Slacker.
Well, Counselor Willie's distracting me.
Oh.
Celebrating 35 years with us is Doug Bell, patrolman with the Caribou Police Department.
I think Officer Bell should be commended for 35 years serving the same PD in the same community, should be highly and duly recognized, and that, thank you for your service.
Okay, both of them.
Well, yeah. No way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Oh, you got a big one, right? Is this a big one?
This is a big one.
It's huge right here.
Celebrating 50 years
Oh
with
my
the city of
God, let me
Caribou
beat.
is Chief Michael Gahagan of the Caribou Police Department.
Hey,
I was
See
12
your
when I,
families here, so do you want to have them?
yeah.
I was 12 when I started. I just want to. I think you were born here, Mike.
Yeah.
That was my brother.
Thank you, Mike.
Gee, Ann needs to get some lifts.
Pleasure to work with you.
She was taller.
Yeah. Thank you.
You've won her away.
Thank you.
We have one more employee milestone to recognize this evening, and that is the 23 years of service provided by Jolene Boucher. Jolene retired in March from her position as lead ambulance biller.
That's a never ending, that's a big milestone. That's a big one. Oh, yeah.
Let you open.
Thank you. Oh, very nice.
Can you take it out so we get a picture of it, and we'll hand this back to Courtney?
Here's the cover.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Thank you, very, very nice.
Picture as well.
Thank you.
And I'll give you back the,
Okay, so are we gonna have?
let's have a group
everybody-
photo.
Yeah, have a-
Yes, that would be nice.
So we can get everybody,
Pictures.
Thank you.
so we can get everybody to,
Yep.
the employees.
We'll need to
please go
stand up.
Will you stand up?
Yeah.
I don't know how you want to do it.
Push it back.
I can come back.
I think we
can come back up here.
can. So we,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe if everyone stands right in front of us, that'll work.
Oh, sorry, Jimmy.
I can come in here.
Just kill the flag.
Right in front of me, yeah. I'll hide behind you. I don't know, well, it depends on who's
Over here.
Probably my expensive shirt. He's got
Yeah. It's Archie.
No, they're not.
Probably Mace too.
Wow, Carl, that was crafty.
Stand aside, yeah.
Turn sideways a little bit. Oh, yeah, get some chairs, that's a great idea.
We've done this before.
Yeah, that's good.
And Mayor Seidman's also the numbers.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mikey, now come on.
Women in the front.
Oh, we have to.
You should sit down.
A little practice round.
No, you're fine.
You're fine.
We don't mind being blocked.
I'm gonna stand on my tiptoes so I look like I'm as tall as
Sorry,
Jody.
it's yours.
What are you doing, Jody? Are you on your tiptoes?
I am.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, everybody say cheese.
Jeez.
See, you don't listen, that's okay.
What did she say?
We already had our cheese faces on.
Oh, you expect us to
Well, we should say
actually
thank you.
say it?
Thank you so much.
Before anyone leaves, we're going to open it up to if anybody would like to say anything on behalf of their, that received a certificate. Anybody want to?
Mike can give a speech?
That's the first one, right?
One of two, yes.
Well, I think that Miss Jordan had some public input, but she wasn't here right at 6.
Okay, we can go back, let's go back to that right now.
her in.
Did you want to speak for public forum?
Yes.
Okay.
Possible.
Yeah, go ahead, just come to the microphone.
Thank you, Mike.
Your name
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
and,
Hi, good evening. Sorry I was late. We had parent night at school. My name is Jordan Rousing. I live on 19 Coolidge Ave, and I own a business on 60 Sweden Street. I'm here to talk about childcare. Shocking. I'm here as kind of my final plea for some help, or listening, some action, something. Some of you may have heard that 2 weeks ago we had to close on a Friday because I had 5 call-outs and no staff coverage. So the ripple effect that us closing causes to our community is pretty immense. We have 100 students, so that means 100 parents at 5 a.m. were scrambling for work to figure out if they could work. A lot of them had to call out of their very important jobs. This will happen again. This will continue to happen, and it may be closing permanently. Last week, 4 of my teachers gave their notice. One, I only had a 1-week notice. I need to do proper background checks for all my staff, and those don't come back for 3 to 4 weeks. So that really puts us in a pinch. 2 weeks ago, 3 other childcare providers reached out to me in this community, one in Caribou, one in Washburn, one in Presque Isle. All 3 of them want to dissolve their businesses. They can't do it anymore because of staff turnover, stress, a really non-cooperative relationship with childcare licensing, inability to turn a profit, all those reasons. They all want to close. If we all go out of business, I did the math, that's roughly 300 children without childcare. That's roughly 600 parents without work. I've been pushing hard for 3 years to not only save my business, but save this childcare profession. I've been doing it on a state level, national level. I was on NPR talking about why this issue is critical. It's an economic issue, and nothing has happened. I've been working with legislators in Augusta, and we do have some pretty decent bills in, but if we don't, get the votes, that won't happen. I've received an amazing job offer. Try not to get emotional, but I've received an amazing job offer over and over again that would limit my work hours to maybe 30 hours a week to the 90 I work right now, and I keep turning this job down because I don't want to stop doing what I'm doing. I love the kids that I have in my school. I love our parents. I love this work, but I can't keep doing it. I can't keep doing it without being able to pay my bills. Constantly begging people to work, not only getting them to be there in the morning, but begging them to just finish out their shift. And we need childcare in our community. So this is my final plea. I'm calling on the council, the city of Caribou, businesses, employers, and other community stakeholders to actively get involved in this issue. I held a town hall in October, and some of you were here, and I was so grateful that you were there. But I was so disappointed that so many employers didn't show up. I called a lot of major employers, and very few came, because I don't know if they don't think this is their issue, because they may not have small children anymore, but if you run a business, this is your issue. If you run a business and your employees do not have childcare anymore, you're in huge trouble. Our town is going to be in trouble if I close and Bailey at Kitty's Clubhouse closes and all these childcare providers close. I spent the day Friday, this past Friday, helping Bailey Kingsbury, who owns a childcare center in Caribou in my old building. And she's been less than a year, and she's so defeated. And I spent the day trying to get her paperwork in order and give her some tips so that she can stay open. I want to see my sisters in this field stay open. We don't have enough slots as it is for the amount of children who need care. I get 3 to 5 calls a day, and I don't have spots for them. Access to quality childcare in our community is crucial. We need hospitals, we need grocery stores, we need banks, we need hardware stores. We need all of those things, and we also need childcare. We're the workforce behind that workforce. Without us, all those businesses I just named are going to suffer. So I'm not asking for money, I'm not asking for a break. I'm asking for all of you who are smart people and know people who are also smart and can get things done to listen to why we have a childcare shortage and brainstorm how we can address this. Because if I close, if Bailey closes, if all these providers close, we are going to hurt. Our community will hurt. So I just am here to, my last ditch effort, I guess. For some support. Sorry.
Did they have a meeting at NMCC on Friday?
We did have a meeting at MCC on Friday. The Speaker Talbot Ross came up. Representative Underwood was there, Representative Terrio was there, and Representative Babin was there, and they were all very supportive. And it should be a bipartisan effort. They were all on board. Yes, we need childcare, but we also need to reach out to our municipalities too, because this is a Caribou issue as well. And we really can't wait on legislation. We can't wait. I've testified for every bill that has come forward so far, And what's very frustrating is the director of our department of OCFS through DHHS has come right after my testimony and testified against all of these bills. One of the bills is to pay the child care subsidy program, currently pays child care centers in Aroostook County half of what child care centers in Cumberland County receive. So one of those bills is to start paying the cost of care. What does it cost to take care of Johnny? And start paying that. So Aroostook County, again, is getting slighted by the state of Maine. And the director stated in his testimony that people in northern Maine don't pay as much in cost of living as the rest of the state. And I say that is false. I had to fill my tank 3 times in 3 weeks on a 10,000 square foot building. My rent is $5,000 a month. I provide breakfast, lunch, 2 snacks, baby food, all of that, milk to all my students so that parents don't have to do that. Southern Maine programs don't always do that. So I disagree wholeheartedly that Aroostook County centers and providers and families don't deserve what Cumberland County families deserve. So there's a lot of discrepancies, and I think people honestly are tired of hearing me talk about it. And Jordan again talking about childcare, I need a team behind me because this will affect everybody if we don't have quality childcare in our communities. And it's happening in Presque Isle, it's happening in Fort Fairfield, it's happening in Washburn, it's happening in all of our communities. But mine just happens to be in Caribou, and mine happens to have 100 kids. So, yes.
Okay, so I'm sensing from what you're saying is that the chief problem is money because of wages.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that if there were a much bigger increase in wages for these workers, that you would actually still get the workers? Because a lot of places pay good money and they still aren't getting anybody.
Yes.
To.
I truly do, because the people that have left hate leaving. It was one of my lead toddler teachers last day here today, and she's going to school for early education, and she is going to Fort Fairfield Elementary School because they offer her benefits and higher pay. But she would love to work at the birth to 5 range. I've had so many people leave that just say, I love this work, but I can't see it as a profession. It has never been professionalized. It is babysitting to so many people who make the decisions when it comes to dollars and cents. And this is hard work. It's important work. I've hired people who should never really be working in childcare because they don't care and they're not paying attention enough, or they don't show up because Jordan can't fire me. She needs me, so I'm gonna go hang out with my boyfriend today. But if I had professionals who were getting professional level wages and benefits, they would see this as a career they don't want to lose out on, I think. So I know it's a very complicated issue, and on Friday's meeting at NMCC when I explained this, the speaker herself was like, whoa, this is a lot. I'm stressed. I can see why you're stressed, because it is very complicated, and it's not something that I can hash out here in a council meeting, but it is something that I would invite council members to maybe figure out a time to meet with me and really hash it out, because we got to do something.
Do you have like a list of ideas, are you really depending mostly on these bills that are coming forward, or do you have another, you're not asking us for money, but you must have some idea of how we could help otherwise?
Yeah, a big thing that we discussed on Friday at that meeting was getting big employers like the hospitals. I've had a really difficult time getting the hospitals to meet with me and participate. Senator Stewart has a bill that would give a tax incentive to employers who help pay a portion of their employees' child care. So if that passes, if it does or if it doesn't, I still feel like that's a huge incentive for employers to know that they're helping pay for their employees' child care, and they will have quality, affordable, reliable child care that will get their employees to work. So many moms and dads are not working right now just because they don't have childcare. Able, willing people of the workforce that are just stuck home with their kids. So I mean, if I had help getting to businesses, that's my biggest struggle right now, is getting businesses to listen and try to be a part of the solution. And I mean, just the more people that know how critical it is and how we're running out of time, the better, which is why I came tonight, to just put it in your brain. Yes.
Quick comment, okay, it sounds to me that I understand this childcare issue quite specifically, because I have my fiance babysits her 2 one-year-old grandchildren. We decided to do it on our own, okay? What it's sounding like to me, okay, is that a lot of your funding, I guess I will say, depends on legislative or state-funded mandates, or federal mandates. When you talk about businesses trying to subsidize certain aspects of, like the hospital, you're saying, or we'll use a nursing home, for instance, okay? A lot of these facilities, because of their funding, their own funding, okay, don't have the ability to do that, okay? They know that they need employees too, and they're trying to put everything into wages and this sort of thing. So it's not necessarily up to personal business to kind of alleviate this crisis, but I think it's more of a state and a federal issue.
Yeah.
That's where the battle has to be fought. There's no doubt about it. We all understand that child care is minimal. But I think that the only way it's going to change is if it changes at the state and federal level through tax incentives, this sort of deal. And that's where the battle has to be fought. I mean, and I don't think there's anybody here that would not help do that, okay? But for individual businesses, especially small business, we'll call it.
Yes, small businesses would be.
It would be almost impossible, much as we would like to. But I think that's very, very important to understand, especially when you single out business, okay? That's very, very important. So, but I think the fight is basically at the state and the federal level, and that's where it has to be brought. And I think that's being brought in. So that's my take.
Yeah, and I mean, I did a meeting with the hospital in Fort Kent, and they're actually building a childcare facility on campus, and they are paying for their childcare expenses for their staff, because they're paying so much for locum nurses that they said it's cheaper to pay for their childcare and have it right here than what they're paying for locum nurses. So, I mean, there's some creative out-of-the-box thinking with businesses who can. I understand that I could never be able to pay for my employees' childcare, and I am the childcare. But those who could, those who, like, you know, I understand hospitals are, you know, tight with stuff like that, but we don't receive any funding right now. Our entire revenue comes from the backs of parents, and I can't raise rates anymore, or they would say, I just gotta stay home, I can't pay.
Can I ask you another question about that? So, do you accept vouchers from ACAP or any other state agency or anything like that? So what you're saying is that every person, okay, every child that goes to your facility, their parents pay 100% of their daily rate?
There's a portion that are childcare subsidy.
Okay.
And it's kind of like main care, where they can't pay the whole amount. So in 2021, I lost 50 grand from accepting subsidy. So we don't want to really accept subsidy anymore because of that.
But they're not, so when you made the comment that, okay, parents are paying 100%, you know, that you are getting some subsidy, again, it's not enough to cover like all subsidies. I mean, regardless if you're in whatever business, but I think that's kind of...
Well, accepting subsidy actually is more of a hindrance to my business, because I don't get the full rate. If you know, kind of kicked out all of my subsidy children, I would be replacing them with parents who are paying full price. I can't pay, I don't get a full, like, my full infant room is $218. I get $185 from the state, and I can't accept the difference. So when I have a decent number of subsidy kids, I actually lose a lot of money. But they need childcare too. Get what I'm saying? So the subsidies don't help.
It must make it difficult to find people to man that infant room because you can't afford to pay them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's kind of a catch-22.
Yes. If I have 1 or 2 infants who are on subsidy, I actually lose money in that infant room.
Yep.
So that's why we have this bill in to pay full rate for subsidies, but the department is really fighting that one.
Have you gone beyond the state to the federal, like Susan Collins, somebody like that?
So I've tried with Susan Collins. I'm getting a little bit further with Senator King and Congressman Golden. They've been helpful. Shelley Pingree is really doing work in the southern half of the state. But we're planning to get either Golden or King to my center. I've invited Senator Collins a few times and just hasn't worked out. But I would love for any one of them to come because it's important just to see the center and see what it is. If you haven't had to access childcare, you don't know what kind of beast you're dealing with. It's not a babysitting service. It's much more than that, and it's very heavily regulated. So that is a real hindrance to the money-making part of it.
At Jordan's town hall meeting, she had, she spoke, but she also had home daycare providers speak. And because the state is not willing to subsidize the full amount for children, these ladies were losing money on, because they had to provide meals, they were losing money on the food part of it. They were losing money on not being able, like she said, if the state only will pay 180 and you're charging 200, that parent can't pay the balance. They've got to accept what the state. So they were losing money, and there were a couple there that I knew very well, and they have been doing this for years and years and years. When you look at these people and they say, I can't afford this anymore, then you know that something's got to be done.
There is truly no more incentive to being a childcare provider other than the pure joy of
doing
being
it.
with the kids. And we can't accept, mostly women, to just take care of babies because we love it. We can't accept that of women anymore. And men. I have wonderful men that work at my facility, but things have changed and we're not catching up. There's no more grandparents, and there's very few grandparents and aunts and uncles that can help out with the gap, because those grandparents are still working. Both moms and dads have to work these days, so we really need to catch up. We're not like, I think a lot of people are misinformed that we do receive funding, and other than that childcare subsidy program that really slights us, we don't receive a penny of help from the government.
Could you get something along the line, you almost are a school.
Mhm.
You're almost,
She is a school.
Okay, so
Yeah.
do you get any funding for that?
No, because we're licensed through DHHS, not the DOE.
And can you change?
There's a bill for public pre-K expansion, which would give a mixed delivery kind of service, so that our preschool program at CCS is like a 3-hour program, but for parents that need a full day, they would be able to choose my center as a preschool option, and it would be free to those parents, and I would have a paid teacher, paid for by the state, wages, better wages, and insurance and all of that in my center, because they need that 10-hour day. The 3-hour day for most parents doesn't work. So that's a bill that, again, is being fought heavily by the department. I don't understand why the department fights us so hard, but they really do. So it's really extensive, which is why I don't want to take up all your time tonight. But I would love to explain further to any of you who want to really understand what's going on. And if you have any ideas, I lay awake all hours of the night trying to come up with ideas to not close my center down. If there's grant opportunities through the city, that's something that I would be interested in. I don't own my building. Mr. Cassidy does. So I've had some roadblocks with grant funding. But if there's something that we could do through me as the owner of the business, that would be helpful. I've thought about becoming a nonprofit. There's some people that say that's a great idea. Some people that say that I shouldn't become a nonprofit. I've really thought of a lot. I just need a team behind me. I feel like I have been an army of one, and I can't keep up anymore. So I don't know if you know, my mother has breast cancer, so I'm also running her dance school right now. So I'm working like from 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. And I just need some help. So before I really lose it. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for your time.
So that was public forum, background with that. So now we have the item 6B. I have a couple of proclamations here to read. The first one is a proclamation for Clerks Week
Proclamation 54th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, April 30th through May 6, 2023. Whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on the function of local government and community. Whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now therefore, I, Jody Smith, Mayor of the City of Caribou, do recognize the week of April 30th through May 6, 2023 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerks, lead by City Clerk Danielle Brissette, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent, dated this 24th day of April 2023. Thank you, Danielle.
That means you get free Tim Hortons coffee for a week. On Jody.
And I'll sign that after the meeting. Let's see, now we have another one. We have 6C, we have the proclamation for Hospital Week for Cary Medical Center. National Hospital Week Proclamation. Whereas National Hospital Week is May 7th through May 13th, 2023, and originated in 1921 as a community celebration, and is now the nation's largest healthcare event. And whereas Cary Medical Center provides accessible, compassionate, expert healthcare services, creating healthier communities, and whereas Cary Medical Center is celebrating its 99th year of service to the county, and whereas Cary Medical Center has been named a top 100 rural hospital, and whereas Cary Medical Center has been named among the top 100 best places to work in Maine for 2 years in a row. And whereas Cary Medical Center employs more than 500 local residents, making it the largest employer in the city and an economic driver for the region. And whereas the hardworking employees and volunteers at Cary Medical Center deserve regard and appreciation for providing care to our community, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now therefore, I, Jody Smith, Mayor of the City of Caribou, on behalf of all its citizens, do hereby proclaim the week of May 7th through May 13th as National Hospital Week, and express my great appreciation for all the individuals, facilities, and technologies that make the health care possible at Cary Medical Center. And witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Caribou, Maine to be affixed to this, the 24th day of April, 2023. We'll see Bill is here if you'd like to speak. Or do you have anything to say about this? Or?
I was hoping we could get a picture of the sign.
We absolutely can. What do you want me to sit
Yeah, you
down
have to-
front, or where do you want me to do it?
She's got a clean copy for you to sign.
Let me just come down here in the front and sign it, or?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Come down and get it.
Burn you keep
Just so
tonight.
you all know, we did the mandatory mask removals last Friday, which was a huge event.
Huge.
I just wanted to mention that you may have seen that we did away with the mandatory masking. And, my office is downtown, and so if you're in an individual office, by yourself, you didn't have to wear a mask, but if you're in the hospital setting, 12 hours a day, most of the clinical staff were wearing N95 masks, were extremely uncomfortable, 12 hours a day, every day for the past 3 years. So, in fact, in all the years I've been there, I've been so amazed at the day after day, those people going back to work in the face of a pandemic. So, first of all, thank you for being willing to sign the proclamation. We're looking forward to an exciting week, May 7th through the 13th. So thank you very much.
Boy, you're going to have a big coffee bill for the next couple of weeks, aren't you?
He wants a picture of you signing it, so
Oh, yeah.
pretend.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he wanted.
You did it too fast.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
I don't have a copy of this.
Danielle, come on up and we'll sign this one at the same time. Come on up, we'll get it. Put you on the spot too, you're the clerk, so.
The keeper of the seal.
Yeah.
Yeah. No way.
Good seal.
That's pretty cool.
I've got one, but mine only lets me marry people.
Oh, yeah.
Diane has one
Get
of
a
those
picture
too.
of her doing signing and putting the seal on if you like.
Sure.
You both have to sign and she's gonna,
Affix the seal.
But I put it on cardstock.
Thank you.
It's too tall.
Cool. Actually, that thing's worth some money.
so we got through the fun stuff, so now we got a 6D. We've got the public works bids on page 12 in our packet, and page 12 is right here. We got Dave here to.
Do you want a copy of this to take with you?
So the sheet that I put out has all of our bids that we've gone out for so far. I do anticipate we'll have one more bid for the airport, but I didn't have it ready yet. All of my recommendations are in red. I did not have any problems with any of the vendors, even on the low side. This should be just a pretty much standard, like what we've always done year after year. Asphalt bids come in favorably better than last year.
Are they less?
They are a little bit less.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, we put a price escalator. So last year, when the bids was $96 to $98, because of the rise in the liquid asphalt price, we paid as much as $108. So I do have about $106 in my estimates to do what we need to do. You can see from here that the bids have gone down from that considerably. But I anticipate once we start using the liquid asphalt, prices will go back up, and I think we'll be right on par. Yeah, could be a few dollars less than I anticipated, but it's going to be close.
So, Mr. Mayor, do we need to accept each one of these bids individually, or do we accept the whole sheet?
It's up to council. We can move the slate unless anybody has any other. That's up to the individual council to make a motion so that
Yeah, I
they
think we could just
as
move the
accepted,
slate.
as presented.
I make a motion to accept the bids as presented per the recommendation of our highway department foreman. We feel very comfortable, and all these bids are more than adequate.
Second the motion?
Second. Discussion on this? Bagley?
Aye.
Boma?
Aye.
Vaughn?
Aye.
Morrow?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Willie?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Our summer's work.
Go out and,
Good
go
luck.
out and pave, Dave.
Make
Make
Poor Willie, you are on
it black,
fire
don't look
tonight.
back. That's the
I've been
1-800
good on
seal
it.
quarter
You know
guys
what I
in
do?
terms, yeah.
Bob, cool her down, huh? We don't have, I don't need this stuff.
See you, Dave, thank you.
No, 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 it's
Thank
really
you,
is, it's
Dave.
true, it's energizing, it's really good.
Energizing, yeah.
Mushroom coffee.
We had a lot of good stuff on here. Now we got public works bids. So now we got 6C, we have tax acquired property bids, 13 and 14, and I believe we have our finance director here, Carl. So he's already there, perfect.
Evening, Mayor, councilors, and manager. The page 14, we have the bid results. We only received one bid, and that was for 903 Access Highway. The minimum bid on that was for $5,400, and the bid received was $6,000 by Carl Panett. So on page 13, if that's your wishes, I just need a motion, suggested motion on the bottom of the page to accept that bid.
I
So
move
moved.
to accept the bid of $6,000 to Carl Panett for map 15, lot 67B at 903 Access Highway.
Second.
Daniels, discussion. Bagley,
Aye.
Boma,
Aye.
Gone,
Aye.
Morrow,
Aye.
Terrell,
Aye.
Willie,
Aye.
aye, motion carries.
Actually,
So
that's
the
a
next,
question. I have a question, I'll do it later.
okay, we have excuse me, okay, we have 15 to 17. We have an appointment to a member of the planning board, and I believe that's in our
Packets.
packet. Ken is here. Has anything to say? Everybody's read it. What are the wishes of council?
Was this the only application we see for the appointment on the planning board?
Yes.
Yeah.
I move that, oh, did you want to say something, Ken?
So I was just saying that earlier in the season, we had a duly elected member of the planning board, duly appointed, I should say, member of the planning board, actually resign almost immediately and move away. And so we've been shorthanded to that point. But we had this young man step up recently. He was interested in either serving on the planning board or the new development committee. I've met this gentleman. He's been following along on the Riverfront Committee. He's also joined in with us on the comprehensive plan kickoff meeting. Very personable, seems to have a passion and knowledge.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the nomination for Justin Staples to the planning board of Caribou.
Second?
Discussion. Bagley,
Aye.
Boma,
Aye.
Gone,
Aye.
Morrow,
Aye.
Terrell,
Aye.
Willie,
Aye.
aye, motion carries. Okay, so we got that. Now we got appointment to the members of the recently formed Caribou Development Committee. So,
Mr. Mayor, I have a question about that.
yes.
First off, I need to know if it's too late to make any amendments to the ordinance 22 in regards to the Caribou Development, creation of the Caribou Development Committee. After reviewing the ordinance more precisely, and I regret that I did not take the time to do it prior to last week, okay? I feel there's a couple indiscrepancies that I think that could adversely affect the longevity of the committee and could present some issues to the city of Caribou. One of the first ones I feel very, very strongly about is the fact that the two non-voting members are the Caribou City Manager and the duly appointed person from the Caribou City Council. This basically eliminates the any voting by the city at all. Basically leaves this to the hands of the council members themselves, without the city themselves having any voice in whatever voting matter happens. Second, okay, and most importantly, okay, I feel that anybody appointed to this council, okay, or this council, should not be involved in any type of economic development projects involved in the city, as long as they're sitting on this committee. I believe that sitting on this committee could result in some information being presented that could allow, I'll call it insider trading, that could be presented and could potentially misconceived, especially by due to the fact that the we don't have a vote with the city manager or the city-appointed council member, I think that this is quite wrong. I've seen this happen in the past many, many years ago, where the CUD, not the CUD, but the CDC and other members, other committees that we've had in the past. But I think that this committee should be made up of people who are 100% neutral and have the eyes and options for the city. And my question is, okay, at this point, is if I can make these amendments, I don't know if it's going to go to a public hearing again or anything like that, but what I'm suggesting is that until these two issues are resolved, that we don't make any appointments to this committee and I think these are two very grave and big issues, and that will allow the committee to function long-term for the benefit of the city of Caribou and the citizens of Caribou.
Thank you, John.
We don't have a copy.
So I'm at the, well, I'll start. I'm going to ask the question because before we move forward with this, we have a member for the city council that has stepped forward as an appointment. We have a member for the planning board that the planning board has voted on, and we have a member from the CEGC council. We are still required as a council to vote to accept those appointments?
Well,
That's just a question. I mean, if we have to, that's fine. I have no problem.
If this is a motion to send it back to
No, I don't know if that was.
kind of start the process over again to amend the chapter, I mean, you're amending a chapter, so that would have to go through the process of amending the chapter. And that would mean we would have to introduce it at a council meeting and have a public hearing, which, I mean, we certainly can do. I mean, this committee has not started meeting. You haven't sat members of the committee yet. So if the thought is that after reconsideration by the council members that there are some things they want to change about the organization of the committee, I think this would be the time to work out those,
Logistics.
yeah, the different things that have come up before you sit the committee.
So, okay, with that in mind.
That's just my thought. I
No,
mean,
I think you're right.
This is just coming out now.
Sorry, well, I'm sorry. Okay, I apologize. I just have been quite crazy here, but I will make that motion. Okay, I will make that motion that we review, and I don't know if I'm wording this properly or not, that we review Chapter 22 or Ordinance 22 to make the following amendments that allows for voting rights to the city manager and the council appointee, and that I also would like to have this amendment and curtail in there that says that as long as you're serving on this board, whatever term you're appointed to, that you're basically there just to serve this committee, and that you're not involved in any type of economic development adventures on your own. And I don't know if that's because I'm a simple person, but I'm making that motion.
Did you want to include the ex officio economic growth council person? You
Yes.
didn't mention that.
Yeah, I think that anybody that sits on this committee should duly have voting rights. And I go back to, I sit on one of the committees I sit on the board for the landfill, okay? Everybody that sits on that committee has a voting right, okay? So what's the point of going to a meeting, okay, and sitting there, okay, and voicing your opinion or something, and it's like, blow you up, okay, I don't care what you say, no. I think that anybody that sits on this committee should have a vote, a right to vote, and be represented, and I also feel that should be neutral, should be a neutral type of avenue.
Well, we have.
Can I make that motion?
We have a motion.
A motion, work on the motion.
Now, is there a second on this motion before we go further discussion?
I will second it because I guess I don't see any reason why some of those other people can't be allowed to vote. I don't see any reason for that, so I second that.
So the motion is to,
We'll have to tweak the language.
Yeah.
On the second part and bring it back, and then if it's acceptable, then you would introduce it as an amendment to chapter 22, and then we would have a public hearing and
it would
vote
be
on it.
introduced as an amendment to the current.
Right.
We're not striking out the new one,
No,
which is
right,
still in
you're
place.
just, you're just amending that.
And any amendment would have to be done in the same
After a public
process,
hearing, yeah.
After a public hearing.
And I realize it's an afterthought, but after looking at it and thinking about it, okay, and again, me being a little slow and simple, I think that it's very, very important for the longevity and the success of this council or this committee to be, again, completely neutral and to just not have any issues down the road. I don't like forming committees and things popping up down the road. And I think we've experienced that here with a couple different avenues already, but I think this will just cover all the bases.
Mr. Mayor, before we proceed into debate, would you repeat the motion, please?
Yes.
In clear, concise terms, so we know what we're voting on.
Okay, I'm making a motion that we amend Chapter 22, that we hold off appointing any appointees to this committee until we make amendments to Chapter 22 in regards to voting rights and job being involved in any type of economic development, period. That this is a completely neutral committee, and that that's what I'm saying.
I'm sorry, but that wasn't very clear. Maybe we need to write down the motion, put it in writing.
Maybe I could do that for you. I would do what, I think we had this discussion today.
I think we need to do that because
I can agree with this.
it's quite
Let's just-
unclear
let's
what you're really
clarify.
moving. And we can divide the question as well, because it's one thing, to me, it's one thing to defer the question. We can do that without any reason.
Yes.
We can do that, and then we can kind of huddle up later and figure out, okay, what changes really need to be made, and debate the merits of that approach, and then come back and readdress the question at some point.
Because we have 4 different things, as I can see here.
Yeah.
Vote on, we have an appointment of a member of the city council, we have from the planning board, well, it doesn't matter who. And we have one from the growth council that they've appointed. We have an ordinance in place that, so if, my question is,
Well, I think what John is trying to
Okay,
say
let's just
is that
clarify it.
what he's trying to say in his motion is that he would like to make a motion that all ex officio members, as this current ordinance has been written for Chapter 22, have voting rights, and also that any members on this board have no conflict of interest when it comes to economic development committees or other projects that they may work on that are a part of a economic development organization in the city of Caribou.
Okay, so in order to compensate Councilor
what you
Van-
meant?
Yes. So what I'm proposing then, okay, is that for tonight's purposes, okay, that we delay this part of business, and I will write down the specific motion, okay, then we'll bring it to the next council meeting,
I think that's
and then
a
we
good
will go
idea.
from there. But I think for tonight's purposes, because of the questions I've raised, that we put aside any appointments to this committee, and then we will bring a written, specific motion to the next city council meeting that will address my thoughts specifically.
how about we make a motion to table this
Table, that's the key word.
until the next meeting?
Correct.
Is that, I'm not trying to get
Well, we wouldn't be
into...
able to do this at the next meeting if we're going to be working on
I don't know, I'm just...
a motion. And then, so you're bringing the motion at the next meeting, and then the fall meeting two.
It'd be two
right,
meetings from
got
now.
to do a
Public hearing.
public hearing again
Right.
to revamp, and then meeting 3 would be coming back to this.
Right, so we're tabling it for this meeting.
Gotcha.
Well, let's clarify the motion, please, on this, because...
I make a motion to table this matter until further discussion. Next city council meeting.
Until the
So
next
do you
city council
rescind
meeting.
your earlier motion?
Yes, I do.
Do you
Rescind
rescind
this.
your earlier second?
Yes, sure.
So
Thank
So
you.
now we
So the
have a new
motion that stands is we are tabling this discussion
Right.
For whatever reason, until the
Do we
next
have a
meeting.
second?
Correct.
Second.
Okay, there. Okay. So we have a motion, a second, to table this until the next meeting. I'll put it on the agenda. And further discussion on that. Bagley?
Are we going to debate this first? Discussion on the motion, please?
No, yeah, discussion. Go
Sorry.
ahead. I'm sorry.
So I think Councilor Morrow brings up a very good point on the voting rights. I hadn't thought of that. I think that's a very good point, worthy of consideration. The second reason or concern that he raised, I just don't know how we would adjudicate that and manage that. But I think for the reason of voting, I think it makes sense to take another look at that before we sit a committee. So I appreciate that.
Other discussion, Mark, did you have something on that you want to say? I don't know if I said.
You know, we're dealing with volunteer people, trying to just do something for Caribou.
Exactly.
We have liaisons on a whole bunch of committees that don't have voting rights. As far as people, conflict of interest, when you're dealing with a small town, limited people who want to get involved anyways, yeah, I mean, they can abstain from voting. I mean, it's public scrutiny. So that's all I got to say.
Other discussion on this topic? So we have a clear motion. Bagley?
Aye.
Bowman?
Aye.
Gone.
No.
Morrow?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Willie?
Aye.
No. Motion carries. I will have this on the next agenda for,
I'm still confused.
I think, but okay, so that's public hearings and possible action items. We don't have that. We have the March financials, so our finance director here, Carl, can lead us through that on pages 20 and 20.
What?
Okay, I'll go back to that. Let's discuss that. Okay, sorry, 8A, March financials, so our finance director, on 20 to 37 on our packet. Carl?
Okay, so on page 20, the March financials, first line being assets, we're at $10,020,369.07. Our cash balance is $4,774,110.79. About 3/4 of the way down the page, the 2022 tax receivables, we collected $69,618.41 in the month of March. We are down on our commitment, down to $502,410.23. To date, we have collected 93.8% of our commitment. That's down about 0.7% compared to last year at the same time frame. The next line, 23 tax receivables, we collected $51,242.32, giving us a year-to-date total of $196,678.99 towards the 2023 taxes. On the next page, I got highlighted at the bottom of the page the liabilities for the month. We're at $7,172,718.06. And moving over to page 24, at the bottom of the page is our fund balance. We're at $2,847,651.01. Moving over to page 27, our expenses for the month of March. The middle column is the current expenses for the month of March. We're at $860,244.58. Bring our expenses to, for the first quarter, at $2,516,116.34. And we're at 21% of our overall budget, which is down 3.8%. Moving over to page 32, our revenues for the month. The middle column, we collected $404,674.16, and our year-to-date is at $1,345,917.78, bringing our percentage collected at 12.8%. And obviously, we are down 12.2% compared to budget, but until we go to commitment, that number will be obviously a lot lower than the budget. The commitment makes up over $3 million of our collected revenue. Side notes, our excise tax for the month was $124,225.50. We were over last year's March by $4,632. Year-to-date, we are over compared to last year at the same time by $15,285.79. That's up about 5% compared to last year. Revenue sharing for March was $82,426.92, and that is about half of what we anticipated. So I'm a little worried about that, and I'm thinking it's because of the economic, things are higher, cost of living's higher, so people aren't buying as much. Puts our year-to-date at $451,876.47, and that being said, we're about 2% less than our budgeted figure. So hopefully that trend doesn't continue. Last but not least, on page 37, I have the first quarter investment report, and I'd like to point out a few things on this report. As of March 1st, our interest rates on all of our checking accounts has been increased up to 2.75%, which is a very good rate for a general checking account. I have on the bottom reinvested for longer terms the Margaret Shaw Library Fund, the Gordon Roberts Memorial Fund, the G. Harmon Memorial, and the Barbara Brewer Fund. I locked those in for about 4.55 on the 2 years and 4.75 for a 1-year CD. So we are working towards investing on a longer term to get a better rate. I'll continue to work those other ones when they mature to get the best possible rates. Any questions?
Questions for
Yes, sir.
Carl?
Carl, thanks, by the way. Nice report. I like the fact how you pointed out about revenue sharing. That's an important one. Next month, could you put a dollar value on that? Like this month, it was 2% less.
Yep.
Could you put a dollar amount on your next report?
Sure can.
Whatever, wherever we stand?
Yep, sure will. Thank you.
I appreciate the highlights, too.
Yeah, me too.
I do too.
That makes
I have to give credit to Manager Thompson made that recommendation. It saves me time too, because I don't have to go back and highlight.
Yeah,
it.
I know,
was
just
going
it
back
makes it
through and
easier to
highlighting,
follow
so I
you.
only have to highlight it once, so,
Yep.
thank you, Manager.
Questions?
Make a motion to accept the financials as presented.
Second?
Discussion, Bagley,
Aye.
Boma,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Terrio,
Aye.
Willie,
Aye.
me, aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Carl.
Thanks.
This is fun stuff. 38, 39, manager's report.
So I do have some changes from the report that's in your packet. Of course, that one I did on Wednesday because I was out of town. So there's been some things that I need to update since Wednesday. So Riverfront Power Plants, a representative from Merlin One has contacted the city regarding the bulk plant, which are the 3 tanks that are beside the steam and diesel plant, which are behind in their taxes, but the city has waived foreclosure on those, so they're still owned by Merlin One. So a representative contacted the city. The EPA and the DEP have been looking at this area. They've sent a letter to us, the city. They've sent a letter to Merlin One that they may require remediation at that site. And the representative from Merlin One just said that they don't have the funds for a cleanup. So I just wanted to let everyone know, because you may be contacted from them as well. On the broadband initiative, the broadband committee will give a report later in the meeting. But one spoiler alert, at the Maine Connectivity Authority meeting on Friday, Charter Spectrum was given approval for their line extension project in Caribou and several other communities. I have not heard back from them. Of course, that happened Friday, and today's Monday. But I'm hoping that I will hear from them about when their plan is to begin work on the pole permits, which I think is the first step in that project, and see if they have an estimate from when our citizens in the farther reaches of our community can expect to have this done. Events and marketing, the citywide yard sale is May 20th and 21st. Thursdays on Sweden Street events are being finalized. We've had a lot of people also talk about, to ask about the brush pickup, and that is the week before the citywide yard sale. And just a reminder that Public Works will only make one pass through the neighborhoods, so be sure to have it out that Monday, which would be Monday, May 15th, to have everything out by the curb. And if you live in the country, it's a good idea to call, because they don't always ride by every place in the country, but they will come out and get your brush if you just give them a call. That's a very popular program, and we've had several people reach out about it. So the Federal American Rescue Plan Act, the grant application for the county is due Friday. So that's something I'm working on. The Riverfront Master Plan, a letter of intent for the MBRC grant was submitted prior to Friday's deadline. Fire station renovations, this is an update since I even printed this out before the meeting, which was tonight at 5:47 p.m. Mayor Smith received an email from our Senator Susan Collins. She was responding to our congressionally directed spending request, which was for money to match what the council has already put aside for major renovations to the living quarters at our fire station. And she has requested $1,359,000 for fiscal year 2024 congressionally directed spending request as part of the THUD spending bill. And so that's moving forward. It's not a done deal, but it's moving forward. And so that is very good news for us. On the police station, I had a conversation with Senator Troy Jackson today, and he has presented LD 1457 to the Appropriations Committee for a $3 million state bond to assist with construction of the jail portion of the new Caribou Police Station. So this would be in addition to the $2.5 million that was appropriated as a congressionally directed spending request in fiscal year 2023. So that would, if this would be successful, that would be over $5 million towards the project that are not taxpayer fund, not local taxpayer funds raised through taxation. I guess I have to be very careful how I word things.
I just want to point out that when I spoke, he called me earlier today and wasn't able to be here this evening to.
Yeah, he's in Augusta, so
in
he's
Augusta,
going.
in Augusta, and wasn't able to do it via Zoom, but I believe tomorrow is the.
Tomorrow at 1 o'clock is when the Appropriations and Financial Affairs Committee will meet, and they can accept testimony in support of this. Up until that time, since I just found out about this, I haven't done that yet, but will after this meeting. Get some testimony in, and I will be available to testify via Zoom for the hearing also. This would be a great help to us because the holding facility and jail here in Caribou is actually used by a lot of other departments. And when the county jail cannot accept any more residents of the jail, then they end up here. And also during the COVID-19 pandemic, when they were not able to transport to the county jail, our police station also held arraignments right in our jail also. And that did take up a lot of staff time to be able to accommodate the county. But because our community has always been willing to go above and beyond with their jobs, they have done that. And I think some of that goodwill that Caribou has put out is starting to come back to us with these different recognitions through this money that would come back to help us with our project. So we're very excited about that. Again, the hearing for that committee will start at 1. It doesn't mean they'll talk about hours at 1, but we're very excited for that. The trailer park closure, one tenant, we still have 3. One tenant found a rental unit by working with the Caribou Housing Authority, and we really have to commend Lisa on her patience. She has really put forth a big effort in trying to help relocate these folks and find them places to live, which has not been easy because they have been very reluctant to help themselves in the efforts. So she's really had to go above and beyond in her position to try to help them. And I'm happy to say that there's another family that she's helped from the mobile home park. With the airport, I had more discussions even today about keeping the Caribou Airport in compliance with FAA grant assurances. The comprehensive plan update, the next work session will be Thursday, April 27th at the Rec Center at 6 p.m. This month's topic will be fiscal capacity and capital investment, and this is a required section of the 2024 comprehensive plan. The update on 15 Prospect Street, Mr. Barretto was served last week with an order to respond to the dangerous building complaint. All of this was prepared by Attorney Solomon. COVID-19 status, as you heard tonight, they have relaxed mask updates at Cary Medical Center, which I think everyone will find to be a very welcome change. Personnel changes, the City of Caribou has multiple open positions. You can see our website for details. There were staff recognitions at this meeting, and interviews for the Chief of Fire and Ambulance will continue tomorrow. Administrative approvals, the City Clerk's office has been very busy with administrative approvals for rubbish hauler licenses for McNeil's Trucking, Gill's Sanitation, Crown of Maine Sanitation, and Turner Sanitation, and special amusement permits for the American Legion and Bichards Grill. So I would take any questions that you have.
Any questions for Manager Thompson? Thank you very much. A lot of good news on that. Let's go to 9B. Spirit.
The rezoning.
Did I skip the,
Page 40.
Request.
40.
For the planning board rezoning map 7, lot 26 from I2 to R3. Ken is here if he wants to give some updates. I think this is
We just have to make a motion to,
Yeah.
have a public hearing.
Yeah.
So we have to make the, a request, we have to have a public hearing. Okay, just make a motion.
So I make a motion that we set the date of May 22nd, 2023 for our public hearing in regards to the rezoning, York Street, map 7, lot 26, from I2 industrial to R3 rural residential.
Second.
You got it. Discussion. Bagley.
Aye.
Boma.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Morrow.
Aye.
Terrio.
Aye.
Willie.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So now we got that's okay, that's different. So the next one is the 9B, the 2023 Spirit of America nominee process. I guess we can,
Yeah, this is for information only. The Maine Spirit of America Foundation became incorporated with the state of Maine on October 16th, 1990 as a 501c3 to establish a town volunteer recognition program. Every year, the Spirit of America Foundation tribute is presented in the name of 100-plus Maine municipalities. In years past, the City of Caribou has selected honorees for the Maine Spirit of America Foundation tribute. The criteria for the award is set by the municipality, but should be a local person, group, or project that is chosen for commendable community service. The Caribou City Council selects the tribute winner and presents the individual or group with a resolution. This memo is just to remind citizens of the award, and if they would like to nominate someone for the honor, please reach out to me and let me know.
so that's information only, so. 11, reports and discussion by mayor and council members. I'll start with, two on here, but I'll give everybody the opportunity to speak their mind and their heartburn. We have the city council committee reports, broadband committee and Councilor Bagley. And I believe this is in our packet as well. You have some information, so.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So you do have written reports in your packet, and I'll just highlight some of the key points. The Broadband Committee met on the 10th of April. All committee members were in attendance, as well as Penny and Mr. Aiken from the CUD attended part of that meeting by phone. We did review status of the Charter Spectrum proposal, and of course recognized that they had that grant pending. And you've already heard news that they did receive the grant, and they will be going through all the contracting processes and planning processes. And so we will wait to be notified officially by Charter Spectrum on what they're going to do for us, and if there will be any cost share. For the city of Caribou, we expect 0. That's what they've told us, but until we get it in writing, we'll wait. We also talked about an inquiry we had made previously to the CUD, asking that they consider reshaping their proposal for their broadband, their community broadband project, to focus more on unserved and underserved areas within the city, and maybe make it a more regional approach in order to make it more competitive for funding, grant funding specifically. And so, that inquiry was made. We haven't really received any kind of response from CUD on that. It doesn't seem to have gained any traction, that idea. We also discussed a third option, and that would be for the city to contract directly with Pioneer to go out and build out a network for us. And that would follow the same kind of process of looking at unserved and underserved areas and being a regional approach and all that. The committee decided we discussed it, but we decided to hold that option in reserve, just pending the outcome of the Spectrum thing. Everything's kind of hinging on that announcement at this point. Lastly, we did receive the broadband engineering study from the Business Investment Group earlier in the month, and that's posted on our SharePoint site for anybody on the council who would like to go in and take a look at that. That's there. We are awaiting a final accounting from the Business Investment Group on that $159,000 that the city contributed to that effort. We'll have a meeting in May. We haven't decided when yet. But if we're closing in on a solution for broadband, I would leave you with this thought that if the Spectrum grant is confirmed, the council might consider disbanding the broadband committee, because its purpose will have been fully met at that point. If we have a solution for the unserved and underserved, that's what we were set up. And so if we have a solution, we might consider disbanding that committee. Any questions on broadband?
Then I'll agree that if we get to the point that we can disband that committee. We
Yeah.
can just kind of leave it on hold right now. We should have to meet, that's up to you.
Okay.
If you choose to.
Okay.
In May, or whatever you feel reasonable with. So, and then that covers that, and then let's go back to, okay, so we got the,
So we have an airport committee report as well. Did you want me to cover that?
Yes, please.
All right, the airport committee met on the 14th of April. All committee members were in attendance, as was the city manager and Dave Willett, the public works director. We started out with a discussion. We had received a lot of information back from the FAA regarding the short-term rental project, cabin project that's been proposed. The FAA discourages any residential projects in the airport area. It's not considered an aviation purpose, and proceeding with this would put at risk future FAA funding and retaining the airport as a city asset. The city airport advisory committee had reviewed the proposal and recommends against it very strongly, and the airport committee joins the CAAC in recommending against further consideration of this proposal, primarily for the reasons cited by the FAA. Next, we talked about potential partnership with LifeFlight to install Jet A fuel onto the airport. They are applying for a grant that would help pay for that. The city's role in this would be basically to manage the fuel management, the sales, acquisition and sales. There was some concern by the Public Works Department that all the extra time and effort in managing, and it's highly regulated, as you might imagine, that our sales just maybe wouldn't make it worth it to put in that extra effort. On the apron reconstruction project I reported on last time, that's still slated to occur in 2024. I believe the manager is going to attend the CIP meeting in May. May 18th. One little gotcha there, the FAA will not pay for the tank replacement. I've heard that if you word it just right, they will pay for the removal, but not the replacement in the installation of a new one. So the committee recommends that we don't do that, that we leave the tank in place. Its useful life extends to 2029. Let's take those extra 6 years, and in the meantime, put money in reserve accounts to pay for that replacement when it is due in 2029. And I think that'll save us some money. Let's see, CAC, the Airport Advisory Committee is planning a fly-in event at the airport. It'll be the first in quite a while, where we're going to invite people in. We're going to have some food and maybe some entertainment. And it'll be done on the 21st of May in conjunction with the yard sale, and we'll advertise it that way. So we'll be looking for more news on that. And then finally, on the we got an update from the Community Garden Project that was approved last year. Planning is underway for ground prep and soil testing and enhancement, and they're actually planning for a grand opening in June. So we can look forward to more announcements there. We will meet again in May, but we have not set a date. And that's it for the airport committee report. Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Do you have anything else you want?
Nope.
Before I come down the line? Final quotes, John?
No, actually, I was just curious. At the planning board meeting, they were given an update on the airport project, I guess I'll call it, or whatever. Were they made aware of the decisions that have been made by, of course, our committee, the city council committee, and the Citizens Advisory Committee, and why those decisions were made the way that they were? In my recollection and reading it, okay, is that it was basically left up to the Citizens Advisory Committee and kind of denied it, but when in fact, okay, the whole deal centered around that the fact that the FAA are the ones that have said that no, you can't do it there, that this is not an allocated space for it. If we did do it, there would be a lot of, I'm just curious that when they're given those updates, that they had all this information there.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, if I may, none of what you said is accurate. Neither committee decides anything. They study it and they make a recommendation to the council. We decide.
Right.
Okay, and so that's occurring. And the other thing, the FAA does not dictate what we do or not do with that land. We can do whatever we want, but they
If we
hold the
want to
purse
pay.
strings.
Right.
And that could put the airport at risk in.
Right. But I was just wondering if the
doing
planning
something
board
other
was
than
given
what
all
they
this
want.
information.
What's that?
If the planning board was given all this
They were
information.
given a summary of the CAAC's recommendation against the project.
Okay.
Anything else from John? Courtney?
Nope.
Mark?
No, thank you.
I'm good, thank you.
I guess I don't have anything to say right now, except our next regular meetings are May 8th and May 22nd. I'll throw out there was some discussion, I'll throw it out here now, in our May meeting, our 22nd meeting, there was some discussion possibly going back to one meeting month in June, July, and August. Just food for thought for the council. We can decide that in the end of May if we see.
Could you
see fit.
repeat that? I missed the first part of that. Sorry.
Basically, we could decide, there was a couple councilors we talked about, last year we went back to one meeting for 2 months in the
Oh,
summer.
okay.
So that just, we can decide that in May, as now the schedule is fine. It would have to be the second meeting if we do it, because then we would have the financials available for us. That's all I'm gonna say, May 8th, May 22nd, and that's it. And we have a executive session. Need a motion to go into executive session, council wishes.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we move it to executive session.
Second.
Discussion, Bagley,
Aye.
Bowman,
Aye.
Gone,
No.
Morrow,
No.
Terrell,
Aye.
Willie,
Aye.
aye. In executive session at 7:30 to take a couple of minutes recess here. Microphones off, please. And then, do you have anything for us to say?